KREW, we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
How was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just saying, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like, he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory. What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those one of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, and still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then can I make it do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Welcome back into the Buccateers podcast. It's been a while, about 6 days since you've seen the Buccateers. We had Joey and Gene do a great little fun show Monday. If you haven't seen that yet, it's available now on YouTube, everything else, and so much more. We do have a great guest joining us today. Little last minute here, kind of like those 16 seeds that worked their way into the March Madness bracket at the last minute. We have the great JC Allen, who does great work, as always, great friend of the programs, joining us now to talk all things Bucs, sports, wrestling, and more. JC, how the hell you doing? Happy Sunday, brother.
Happy Sunday indeed. I'm doing well, man. Just watching this OT7 flag football game over here on YouTube. And my neighbor's kid is actually in it. Just caught back-to-back touchdowns. He's on Cam Newton's team. They're smoking Torrey Smith's team right now. So it's football's still going. I found it.
Football never sleeps, and you know that as a coach and, getting into the good things. So that's cool. Flag football getting popular. Marianne Hederman in the house saying, hey, guys. Cleveland Me, happy Sunday. Client Content Service saying, Stunna getting a shout-out. Been since Nam, since I think I heard that one. The great Bud Cannibalist joining as always. Acknowledge me, saying Bud. So, Joey, speaking of acknowledge, how the hell you doing? We're here on a Sunday. Road to Mania heating up, as JC Allen says. We have flag football. Maybe Tom Brady and Logan Paul are setting up their little flag
Oh,
game for
God.
WrestleMania game. We'll see. But what say you, brother? Happy Sunday.
Yeah, definitely been happy Sunday. Been paying attention to the March Madness mostly, as I have a pretty solid bracket going right now, but that could change all in a heartbeat if a couple teams lose here or there. So that's been fun. But yeah, I saw a little bit of that. Tom Brady did end up in the top 10 plays yesterday, but fuck him. Logan Paul, I'm taking his side all day over Tom Brady. He keeps coming at the business in the industry. You know what, Tom Brady, get in the squared circle. You'll get your ass kicked at WrestleMania, okay?
Wow. Fighting words there. JC, do you have a rebuttal?
Imagine they're just setting this up for WrestleMania next year. WrestleMania, Brady versus Logan Paul, WrestleMania in Saudi. That'd be great.
Moneymaker, right?
I mean, the kid he can still play, dude. I think he's he. I mean, you could tell the zip, the accuracy, Tom Brady is just an absolute legend. It was a great way to kind of get interested in both sports. Logan Paul is a natural instigator, so he was going to have some things to say. I thought it was kind of funny. He goes too far sometimes, and these are NFL players, so like he's calling out Myles Garrett while Myles Garrett's not there. He's getting in Gronk's face, and like Kevin Hart had to come. And then I saw the clip, and Gronk was like, "Yo, get off me!" And he's like, "Oh, Kevin, I didn't know it was you." So it's like, is that real? Was that staged? I don't know. You know how Logan Paul could be, but it was good. I mean, I wrote on my X yesterday. It's like all these NFL players, like Mike Evans, bro. You ain't playing in the flag football game. You ain't got enough speed for that, my friend. Sorry, that's to dash your dreams. But Reggie Griffin, RG3, he's gonna start training for the Olympic team, so it'll be interesting. But it's just a completely different game, and even like watching flag at the lower level compared to tackle, like it doesn't look as different, but when you get to this level, it's just incredibly different. The way that they're moving out there yesterday, it was awesome to see, and they're bankers, bro. They're like accountants and like real estate agents. He's like, these guys still got full-time jobs. Crazy.
JC, I think that's a great point because so many people, as we're joined by Olivia. Hey, Olive. We love our lady listeners. Thanks for joining us. The great Jimmy Coletta. Hello, gentlemen. Good morning, America. Hi, Olivia. Good morning to you, Mr. Jimmy Coletta. We appreciate all you do. But JC, I think you made some great points. I think people assume, these NFL guys could just go into flag football and kill it. Kind of like some people assume, these baseball players would be able to go into softball and kill it. But then you go into the thing and it's a completely different sport, right, JC?
Yeah, and I think part of it too is, I mean, let's be a little real here. The NFL players had about 2 days to kind of get brushed up to speed on flag football, and kind of, I'm not sure any of them took it really seriously and did some research and watched videos and stuff like that. But I think with amount of time to prepare and really kind of study and understand the game, I definitely think there is a situation where NFL players could be better than the USA football players. The problem is they don't have the time to put into it. And what franchise is going to want their players to spend an entire offseason working on flag, and what players are really going to want to do that? I know the allure of a gold medal, but let's say Cooper DeJean and the Eagles, and they make it to the Super Bowl or something like that, and he's one of the defensive backs you'd probably want on that team. He's just played 20-something weeks of football, and now he's got to go right into Olympic training for July, and then right after that I think like maybe some retired guys. I don't know, Reggie Grip, RG3 and some of these other guys or fringe guys make a little more sense. Like, hey, I'm going to be on the practice squad, or do I go train for Olympic football? Some of the guys who have short lifespans in the NFL, and you're like, wait, what the hell happened to that guy? He was like a boss like 3 years ago. Like now he's not even on the NFL. Maybe that's like those are the type of guys maybe you transition, especially if they got speed and skills to the flag
like a
team.
Will Fuller type or something.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be difficult to get NFL players to really commit the amount of time necessary to ensure that the NFL wins gold at the Olympics. Like, you can't this isn't a FIFA or a world, like it's the Olympics. And if you can't ensure you got to send the best. And if that's USA football, then that's USA football. We'll see how it all plays out, because I think you could do like Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson and, Jameer Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, like those. You got juice out there. I love juice. Everyone loves juice out there. But, and Luke Kuechly, what are we doing? But are they going to risk a potential injury in their offseason and their time where they're trying to get better and improve themselves in the NFL where they're making real money? Are they gonna abandon all that for chasing an Olympic gold medal? And is that the smart move? So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think we'll find out a little bit more in the next year or so as the committee starts to look and put together teams and whatnot. But it's gonna really depend on if the NFL juggernauts its way into the selection process too.
And that's just that, Joey. Imagine a guy like Sauce Gardner or Jonathan Taylor going to play, and then flag football ends their real football season. I think that would be brutal as a fan of any team if any of their big stars got hurt. I mean,
and who was the Patriots running back? I should know this. I can't forget. Remember, but he was playing flag football in Sand on the Beach, and Edwards, right? And tore up his knee, and that was his career, like gone. So, imagine you tear up your knee in a semifinals matchup against Peru, and your career is over. It's a hard draw for those NFL guys to want to have to commit, not just for games, but for training and everything else too.
Joey, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I just enjoyed watching the World Baseball Classic, which did better than most years they have done it. And it is a little of, back and forth with the injury factor where Cubs fans say Suzuki is going to be out a couple of weeks here because he pulled up after sliding to second base. So, but then again, it makes it so much better and a lot more fun to watch when they're playing. In flag football, I have to get more into and adjusted to it, obviously. But as JC said, I mean, like Odell Beckham, so people that have retired recently, like Tom Brady, you see kind of more of those names probably at the moment than all the current guys. But at the same time, it does make it more entertaining and better to watch when they do, of course, have the high-profile athletes in there. But it is tough to convince teams to do this. World Baseball Classic is right behind regular season, which is tough. With football, I mean, obviously a career-ending injury or an ACL, God forbid, would make it out for the year. But at least it's only March. And if something did, God forbid, happen a little bit, hopefully it would be one of those things by where training camp and OTAs happen that they'd be.
Well, Olympics are in the summer, in August.
Yeah, I just mean at this current point in time. But yeah, the Olympics, the Olympics are coming up too, which is also a good point. So then you're going to be looking at all the sport. I mean, NBA hockey. Look at Sidney Crosby; he got hurt during the hockey tournament. Then we had a couple other injuries that took some guys out as well. So it's always a risk you're going to take, and I do have a hard time going back and forth on. I can see both sides of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it makes a much better product when you put the best of the best out there. At the same time, I'm a little selfish here. I don't really care as much until it affects one of my teams, which, hey, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I saw a Cubs guy go down. That's a little deflating. If a Colt, like you mentioned, were to go down, it probably really pissed me off. So it is a little back and forth for me, but I did enjoy the World Baseball Classic, and I'll try to get more into the flag football, as I did see some highlights yesterday, as mentioned.
At least for the World Baseball Classic, they're going to be playing harder, but it does at least take the place of spring training, where the hockey Olympics are just like extra games added in. I know that's kind of what you got to do, sadly, but man, that's just totally unfair to those guys. At least baseball's kind of like a spring training on steroids a little bit. But yeah, Cubs did lose Suzuki. Interesting thoughts and topics here as we evolve into the world of flag football. Crazy stuff that's even going to be considered at the Olympics. Just crazy times here in 2026. JCL and Joey Nips, Tampa Tones here, live on the Buccateers, returning from a cruise and now back on the podcast. Sometimes I still feel like I'm cruising in a good way. Wish I was, but you can't cruise forever, gents, that's for sure. Speaking of cruising, Joey, we're going to talk about the Colts free agency next, but the Bucs, It was a slow start, and now they seemingly cruised over the past week after adding a lot of the beef last weekend. They added El-Kadi Muhammad. That was a big one. They added Killebrew on special teams. I think that's a big one. I think he's going to be really impactful. Alex Anzalone, the linebacker, Kenneth Gainwell. Added a bunch of dudes, brought back guys as well. Co Keefe was a fun announcement back. Dan Feeney was too. We called those the boat re-signings. Ashawn Robinson, one of the bigger ones on defense. Seems like they wanted to add some nasty back to this team. And Jason Licht, general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was asked about the guys he added defensively specifically, and he said they're a bunch of nasty pricks. And you could kind of see that that's kind of a change in attitude, Joey, from what we've seen the past couple of years with the Bucs, where they were saying, hey, we just want the nice guys, good guys on the field, and now this offseason suddenly a change a bit to, we want some nastiness. Thoughts on the Bucs general manager's comments on the guys they added defensively, calling them quote unquote nasty pricks in a good way.
Oh, I love it. I mean, they need to be as nasty as Taylor Frankie Paul from the Bachelorette season that just
Nelly.
Really dig the nails in there. But all jokes aside, terrible. I mean, I don't even watch the show, but it's popping up. Her and Justin Timberlake have been like all over my news feed in the past 12 hours. I feel like I don't know what that says about what's going on here, but Bucks ball wise, okay, so I'm not in the only boat.
No, my wife was talking about it, so I feel like that's all it's all over my Twitter feed. I have to thankfully they have the sort thing on your whatever on the For You just put it to sports, but yeah, it's been. It's not even that great. It's not that great.
I couldn't agree more.
It's not even that great.
If you watch those shows, shame on you. If you're a Bachelor watcher, Bachelorette watcher, my goodness, what are we doing as a society?
Yeah. I'll watch Love Is Blind. I'll admit to that one, but that's it.
Well, you're blind. I'm sorry. You're watching that. No, I'm kidding. Watch it. But my goodness, the amount of stupid TV that we consume as Americans, that just, my Lord. Sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox.
Yeah, the woman in all of our lives, I'm sure, would probably say a little bit more of the opposite. But hey, I'm a wrestling guy and a sports guy, so that's what I mostly see pop up. But I do listen. We had a pod a couple of weeks ago, almost now, where the D line, and JC will speak way more to it than I can. But we've been talking about pass rush. And I know maybe the Panthers guy is a little bit more on the run, but again, you have an injured Kalijah Cansey a lot of times, in my opinion, and then Vita Vea, who's not getting younger. So I think that gentleman who's coming in from Carolina can just help beef up the line and be an enforcer. And then AQM, he started his career near Indianapolis with the Colts, and he wasn't very good, but he's progressed a lot over the past few seasons. And he had his career high in sacks last year, I believe, hitting the 10 mark with the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell biting those kneecaps. So I do think they made some legit moves on the defensive line. I do like that, because to me, it doesn't matter what you have behind them if you can't get to the QB. I would still a little bit concerned with linebacker. Obviously, Levante David pending. Not sure if we have any updates at all there. But
if you had a guess, do you think he comes back?
If I had to make a guess, I would say yes, because to me, and I have no information obviously at all, I'm not an insider or anything, but to me, if he would have retired, I think it possibly could have happened by now, and maybe not. I'm not really sure, but it's almost 50-50, maybe a coin flip, if to be honest. But I think if you're playing, if he's waiting it out like he is, to me, he does pretty much want to play. I would speculate, but he just really doesn't have to say anything right now. To me, the draft is really the next big checkpoint where the Bucs would probably like to know on that. So he's probably just living it out. And to me, if he was truly set on retiring, maybe it would have happened. Again, could be wrong on that, but that's just my hunch. So I do like grittiness. The Bucs need it. They lost that flavor in the second half of the season last year, and I hope it comes back to some buck ball, hard-nosed ball.
That would be a blessing for Bucs fans around the globe, pulling for that nastiness back on defense. We saw it with both their Super Bowls, as JC, you're getting applause for your lady loving show comments from Olivia, so we'll go over to you next. Yeah, we knew Joey called that one. He said the ladies will love it, and here we are. But nonetheless, JC, thoughts on Joey's Levante comments being kind of 50-50? What say you on that? And what are your thoughts on Bucs general manager Jason Licht in a pleasant way, saying guys like Robinson and other defenders are nasty pricks? Now, that Robinson press conference, maybe top 3 of all time of incoming Bucs players, JC. That's how awesome that one was.
It was great. It was great. And to defend myself, we just want people to find love, all right? And for every 3 or 4 couples who are on there just for whatever, we get the one that we got this year who truly found love with each other, and it was beautiful, all right?
They found love in a hopeless place.
They didn't even have to show them that much because they gave them their own camera, like, oh, you guys are going to make it. And they're like, you guys, we're not going to follow you. Take your own camera and do it. Olivia knows what I'm talking about. They're awesome. I forget their names. But Levante David.
And behind the scenes, there are a bunch of pleasant surprises and flowers as well, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Levante David, you know, he had off-season surgery because he had to get his knee drained. I really think this is a situation where I don't know if he's fully recovered from that yet, and he probably wants to test it out. He probably wants to get out there, run, see how he can move, see what see how everything's going on and everything like that before he truly makes a decision. The Bucs have an open door policy, as Jason Licht has stated. Doesn't matter if it's before the draft, training camp, they'll welcome him back. They'll even go over, and this is where I was kind of wrong when I was putting together my mock offseason. The Glazers would have went over for Mike Evans as well. They had an offer of over $20 million on the table for him. He just wanted to leave. So the Bucs would have had 7 players on the team making $20+ million, all homegrown talent too. So that's the thing when it comes to the Glazers. They'll overpay their cash budget a little bit if it's to bring guys like Levante and Mike Evans back. Of course, it didn't happen with Mike, but I do think Levante likely winds up back with the Buccaneers. It gives you Alex Anzalone, Levante David, Saracen Dennis going into a contract here, and then whatever rookie you pair for it. I know a lot of people are saying, you got to draft 2 rookies. You got to draft 2 rookies. I don't think they do. And if they do, I don't think they necessarily need to be high. 2nd, 3rd round pick. There's a lot of good linebackers you can get in this draft. Everyone wants Jacob Rodriguez right now, or Sonny Styles has gone out the window for most people. CJ Allen seems to be a contentious choice for a lot of people, especially at 15. But there's plenty of linebackers you can grab in this draft, I think, to pair and develop behind an Alex Anzalone and a Levante David. And hopefully you can see a little bit more from Saracen Dennis as well. But if not, he's that kind of guy who can come down and be, strong against the run and in the blitz. And you look at some of the guys that they're bringing in, Josiah Trotter and some of these other guys, those are more physical guys and coverage guys. So what it kind of speaks to me is same thing with the guy they're bringing in for a 30 visit that I reported the other day, Jimmy Rolder. He's more of a physical. Todd's looking for a thumper to pair with Anzalone, and maybe Levante. He wants someone that's going to come and set the tone, be aggressive and run. He's going to give up a little bit of coverage for a guy like that. I think if they take Josiah Trotter, a lot of Bucs fans won't be happy because his coverage isn't where it needs to be. He's a little bit of an older prospect, but he's a trotter. He brings it, bro. He's like, and he wears a green dot and all these things. So I think it'd be a good fit, especially when you look at what they did with the nasty boys, we'll call them, Ashawn Robinson, AQ Muhammad, and Alex Anzalone. Robinson's definitely the nastiest of the 3, but they all bring physicality to their play, and that is something that the Bucs made an effort at. We saw a couple off seasons they really wanted to get some speed on this team. Now they're they want an effort to get bigger and nastier on this team. So when you look at a lot of people are looking at how they can supplement this roster in the draft, be it edge rusher or linebacker or whatever. You got to kind of keep size into perspective as well, And our great friend Michael Pless from Real Bucs Talk, he just put a post out about the Bucs generalities of the last, 4 or 5 drafts where they've, since Noah Spence, where Jason Licht has taken an edge rusher high, and they all meet these typical thresholds, 33-inch arms and stuff like that. So you start to look at some of these other guys who are the explosive pass rushers, the R. Mason Thomases, the Cassius Howells, and combined with their want to get more physical on the front, traditionally we would think, okay, they want a big guy, someone like Diaby to push the pocket from both sides, where most of us are kind of calling, and Tones, you can attest to this, for that speedy guy, that guy who can win with speed and bend and get off to pair with Diaby. So it's an interesting thing. They've obviously brought in our Mason Thomas for a 30 visit. They're interested in him. They met formally with Cassius Howell. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially if they don't double up, because if they do double up, I think that all but spells disaster for Chris Braswell. If they don't double up, which body type are they going for? What do they need? They kind of brought in that DPR in Muhammad. Do they feel like they want another big body in the style of Braswell and Nelson and Diaby? Or do they want one of these, DPR small, fast, shifty guys who usually don't measure up to the thresholds they want to take early? So it's going to be interesting, but they definitely got bigger. They definitely got nastier, and time will tell with Levante, but his spot is safe if he wants to come back no matter what, I think.
And let's not forget, NFL draft only about a month away. Could you guys believe that? Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th. Friendly reminder, we will be back with our annual Day 3 draft show where we go live for about 2 to 3 hours long.
Love it.
Yeah, we dissect Day 1 and Day 2, and, we let those breathe a little bit because everybody goes live on those days and nothing against it. Applause to them. But Day 3, people kind of take their foot off the gas. We're here to reverse course, put our foot on the gas on Day 3. Maybe JC, some other great guys will come on that day as well. So Pops text in. I love it. We're talking about nasty pricks on defense being added, and JC talking all love boat on the show. Gotta love it. So there you go. Good convos here on the Buccateers. Before we get to what the Colts have done, JC, I think you make great points on the edge. Will they break pattern or will they stay the same? Real Bucs Talk puts out some great efforts and works this time of year for people intrigued upon draft prospects. Go over to our friends at Real Bucs Talk, and as always, JCL and NFL. All his articles are on Twitter now, so one-stop shop over there for JC. Joey, thoughts to close out Bucs Talk before we pivot on to the Colts and what they've done so far with their offseason?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs have been pretty fluent a little bit quiet here lately, but that's at the point we're at again with the draft not too far out. You wait to see on a lot of these veteran free agents, especially that kind of happened right before and right after the draft to see what they kind of have out there. So that's what I'm intrigued to see. Pass rush wise, they're still names, but they're not, living up to the back of the football card like they once did, with Bosa kind of leading that group. So there's veterans out there. There's still some decent players, and trades could also be made, as there's been a decent amount of that happening as well. But overall for the Bucs, pretty solid to this point. I would, again, still like to see a couple more ads, but with the draft and everything, I don't really assess. I don't freak out or, do too much until I see what happens come early May and what the roster is more looking like there. So keep adding on, keep attacking the spots, and it's kind of good that they necessarily don't have to pay all. JC mentioned about 6 or 7 guys over $20 million. That's where a couple of those go, and you have more money to spend elsewhere with the cap going up every year as well. So we'll see what happens, but I like it to this point.
Yeah, before I read off the Colts signings, we're going to go reverse here. I'm going to get JC's opinion on the Colts signings first, see if he had any of those guys for the Bucs, see what he thinks on them, as he does a great job in free agency. I wanted to bring up a few more points. To me, AQM signing El-Kadi Muhammad, I mean, maximum $6 million. That's a steal of a bargain based on what some of these edge rushers were getting or D linemen were getting. So I'm very happy with that. 1 year, $4 million base, $6 million max. And those $2 million are built into incentives to help him and the team. So very cool with how that, very surprised. And what I love, him and Alex Anzalone come over together from Detroit. We've seen a bunch of one-off free agents this past year, maybe never really gelled with the locker room. So now you get 2 guys coming from the same team. That'll help those guys a lot fitting in to this locker room. You've seen the Bucs double up on special teams with the Steelers coordinator, Steelers player. The Bucs are doing a nice job of comfortability. Pop's texting into the show. Did J-Lo die? Nope, he's good. He's in Disney right now, enjoying himself, enjoying the life of J-Lo. So he is tuned into the show, I think, or maybe hopefully watching the replay. But JC, you're a big offseason guy. The Colts have been busy early and often this offseason. They started with transition tagging Daniel Jones. They re-signed kicker Blake Grupe. They traded Zaire Franklin to the Green Bay Packers for defensive tackle Colby Wooden. They made Alec Pierce the highest paid wide receiver in free agent history. They ended up tagging, then extending Daniel Jones. They did sign unrestricted free agent defensive end from the Jets, Michael Clemens, and edge rusher Ardon Key. They, as expected, traded Michael Pittman Jr. along with the 7th-round pick to get a 6th-round pick in return. They re-signed a couple of veteran tight ends, Drew Ogletree and Mo Alley Cox. That guy just keeps staying around somehow. I love it.
Great blocker.
Yep, hands of all you need to do is block sometimes. Signed unrestricted free agent from the Chiefs, Derek Nandi, 3-time Super Bowl champ. Laquan Treadwell keeps bringing back to the Colts too. He keeps surviving with the Indianapolis Colts. They signed unrestricted free agent safety Janiai Thomas as good depth over there. They signed Simon Bale's husband, Jonathan Owens. They also got Jerry Tillery, former Chargers 1st-round pick out of Notre Dame, defensive tackle. Signed tight end Carson Tout, Cam Taylor-Britt they brought in. Signed linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither. I was actually on a Disney cruise with him one time. Fun fact, he was in Concierge area, though, so didn't really get to see him. They signed NWI from the Dolphins. He had some success with Tennessee as a wide receiver in years past. And then they re-signed Luke Tenuta as O-line and re-signed Cam Mitchell. No, not the Cam Mitchell I went to high school with. JC, I know that was a tongue twister like a Dr. Seuss book, but what say you on the Colts offseason? I know you study a lot of these guys doing your Bucs mock offseason.
Yeah, I had Akeem Davis-Gaither as actually one of my recent article about 5 free agents the Bucs should sign, just because he's a good guy to bring in as certain 3rd down packages and stuff like that. He can cover a lot of ground as a linebacker. To me, I didn't really think the moves the Colts made were splashy or anything like that, but I thought they were important. Bringing back Daniel Jones, who looked like he could be the franchise guy over there under that coaching staff, I think it was a smart move. I don't love what they paid Alec Pierce, but I really liked him coming out of the draft, and he's put things together. I don't know if the consistency enough was there for that much money, but it is what it is. I really like Michael Pittman. I thought they got a bad exchange for that, but they were kind of tied with their contract and everything. I would have held out to the draft to see if you could get a little bit more in return, but with the cap constraints they had with the Daniel Jones and the Alex Pierce signing, you can see how they wanted to be able to have flexibility and move that number off the sheet. Cam Taylor-Britt was intriguing as well. I thought that was a good move. He didn't really play up into the level I thought he could when he was drafted with the Bengals, but I do think there's still more there to unlock. The rest of the moves are just kind of good depth, good rotational pieces, especially along the defense. The Clemens one is a head scratcher, and I know a lot of Colts fans were like, what the fuck? Why do we give this guy so much money? Arden Key is another one who's like, does he move the needle? No, but will he provide good snaps and pass rush opportunities? Sure. But to me, it's going to focus on the draft. Is where they're going to need to end. They don't have a 1st-round pick, so they're going to have to really hit the nail on the head with some of these draft picks to kind of round out the roster. And luckily for them, you can get good starters in the 2nd, 3rd, and even in the 4th round in this draft. So if they can round out the roster in the draft, I think they'll be in a good spot. But they didn't really lose much. They didn't really add much. It's kind of like they're poised to compete again if Daniel Jones is ready to go. We'll see what happens with Anthony Richardson down the line, but I thought it was a solid offseason. I didn't think it was anything that, Colts fans would be jumping up in joy for, signing, unless they're really invested in DJ and Pierce. But even then, I think, the money is something where, it's kind of a lot of money for him. But obviously, we'll let the Colts fan tell you how he really feels about it here in a minute. And then once he's done, I got to hop off. So I'll give my final thoughts then and let him just do his thing. How was my assessment, Joey Nips? Was I on nail on the head, or was I way off?
No. I mean, honestly, pretty spot on. I don't really have much to disagree with. The Jets comment was funny because the most video I've seen of that guy was flipping off the fans in Cleveland, which is fucking hilarious. So that was kind of funny. When you talk about Pierce and Jones, the thing with our offseason, we needed that combo to come back for this coaching staff, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, because jobs are kind of on the line. So Pierce, as you said, you liked him out of the draft. He has improved every year. People, you could look at it in two ways. You see the catches, and some people are like, but then you look at the yards per catch, you look at the explosive plays what the NFL is turning more into, and he ranks in a lot of the top categories there. So that could be either way, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like 2 years for $60 million for the guaranteed side, and then you can kind of do whatever. Same with Daniel Jones after 1 year. So it is a lot of money that we're exposed in those two positions. But I think for us, we needed to bring them back to ultimately compete at the end of the day in this division in the South. You were right on the depth moves. We've made a lot of – if you didn't know Lou Anarumo, what we have done to this point, if you have any ties to Lou Anarumo, you found your way into Indianapolis. Last year we saw quite a few of those guys, some linebackers, including Jermaine Pratt, and others come to the scene. And then this year, Tyler Cambritt from Cincinnati, he was – Lou Anarumo. Gaither, the linebacker, was in Cincinnati, as JC mentioned. So a lot of guys that have had connections. And what I will say is, yes, we haven't made the splashy play, which I'm hoping we make in a trade, whether it be Josh Sweat, Jonathan Grenard, or maybe sign Bobby Okereke. Those are the three names I still have near the top of my list if we could ever pull it off. But the defense is taking more of an approach of Lou Anarumo type guys, which in year one is harder to do because you're kind of just coming in and you're kind of assess what you have. And then in year two, you can build up what you have. So I do like that we switched to more guys that seem to want to play his style. And then offensively, we kind of stayed at status quo. Westbrook Akine went to Indiana, so he's familiar with the area. His wife lives here. So he killed the Colts. He was a Colts killer. So hopefully that, I don't know what happened in Miami, but he had 9 touchdowns in 2024. Not really sure what the heck happened last year, but Miami, as we know, is kind of just unleashing hell out of their roster. And then we'll see. There's still plenty of time. Like you said, the draft needs to fill out, and I hope we make another move. But we're in a pretty good position in cap space. Still in the top half of the NFL, so I'd like to see a couple more things be done. But, yeah, nothing overly splashy, but definitely good enough to where they will be very competitive in the AFC South.
JC, before we let you go and get your rebuttal on that, I want to give a quick shout out to our Facebook peeps. Matt Kratz saying, Tony, welcome back. Enjoying the laid back Sunday sports show. Keep up the great work, boys. Thank you, brother. Hope all is well with you and to see you soon. Don in the house, Hearn in the house, Fabricio in the house. Get Impact over on Facebook. Bucs Skull Gang. Hello, everyone. Will the Bucs bring in Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs? Nope, they will not be doing either of those moves. They are content with their wide receiver room at this point, in my opinion. They'll add on maybe a Shepback or draft a rookie or maybe another low-end vet, but I don't see them going to get one of those guys. JC, thoughts on Joey's comments, on these comments? And last question, March Madness or Mania or other, the Valspar is going on. What other side sporting event or activity maybe besides football has you intrigued into things this spring? The road to WrestleMania, March Madness, or other? Obviously, plug your great work for the millions and millions as well, brother.
Yeah, so I think what the Colts did is kind of similar to what the Bucs did, right? They improved their floor. And we've talked about this. You heard Josh Capo talk about this. You heard you heard Michael Pless talk about this. I'm sure you heard Tones talk about this. But they've improved their floor, right? They've brought in players who are going to help make, whether it's the defense or offense, better. They haven't brought in players that are going to make it great, but they've improved of what they had last year in a lot of positions. Some not so much. Obviously, wide receiver, which will bring me right into Hill or Diggs. That's not going to happen. They do not have the cash space available to bring in a wide receiver of that caliber, of a veteran wide receiver, unless they want to come and play for the veteran minimum. Neither of those guys are going to want to do that. They don't have any money that is, at least I don't think Tyreek Hill has guaranteed money that the Dolphins still have to pay. I'm pretty sure they don't. So I mean, but it's not gonna happen. I don't know why I'm even going down that lane. Sorry, Buck Skull gang, it's not gonna happen. I tried to rationalize for you, but it's not. Tim Patrick is a guy who I could see. I wrote about him in my 5 free agents. Big 6'4", was with Liam Cohen and the Jags last year, so does have experience. He's kind of been slowed down. He's 31 years old. Injuries have plagued them. Got kind of a late start.
Not long ago, he just got paid big money from Denver, I believe.
Yeah, back-to-back 700-yard seasons. So he's a guy who can work the boundary, work the red zone, good route runner. He doesn't got burner speed, but really neither than Mike Evans, but with good precision route running and working the boundary. He's a guy who I could see them bring in, obviously Shep as well. But which brings me to my other point. Don't be surprised if the Bucs go wide receiver early. I wrote about this the other day. Jason Licht talked about it. Don't be surprised. I've kind of heard that, hey, if something happens in Tyson or Tater there at 15, like BPA, don't be surprised. They could go back to back. I doubt it, but it could happen. But they're definitely going to come out of this draft with a receiver, I feel like. And I think the more I listen, kind of digests Jason's comments and the what the offense looks like, they're going to add to this offense. They're going to add a tight end, a move tight end, someone who can be a threat and have some speed to press the seam. They're going to add a boundary receiver, an X guy, whether that's a big 6'4" guy or someone who's just a vertical threat like Devon Stribling, who they brought in. He's only 6'2", but he's a boundary receiver as a vertical threat. There's some guys I like. I just put up my mock draft yesterday. Go check that out on X. I had them going with, was it Ted Hurst? No, Eric McAllister at a TCU. So there's plenty of guys that can get in this second, third, fourth, even if they want developmental guys who can just kind of develop into that role or just be on that, like a Chase Roberts is someone they can get later in the draft. Like there's plenty of guys that they can look at. Oscar Delp probably went from a 5th round to a 3rd round pick after his pro day, but the Bucs brought him in for a official 30 visit. They've met with a couple other guys. Dallas Bentley is one. And a bunch of them at the combine as well. So they're looking even with Cade back, and you kind of see what success McVay had last year when running those 3 tight end sets. And Payne Durham's in a contract year, and Devin Culp. I love what Devin Culp could be, but he hasn't really kind of taken that next step yet. And they're looking for, if they're looking for someone to add in that element that Kyle Pitts did last year, it's either Devin Culp or it's not on the roster. And I think they think that it might not be on the roster right now. So watch for offense and running back. I know my friends over at Peterport had Jadarian Price as a 2nd round pick in one of their mocks or something like that. And don't be surprised. There's a lot of intrigue and kind of concern if Bucky can hold up. And they brought in Kenneth Gainwell, who's a much better runner than what Rashad was last year. Similar pass catcher, not as good as a pass blocker, but really not many in the NFL are as good as Rashad White. But I wouldn't be surprised if they look at running back. I still think it'd be crazy if it's on day 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if they look at
Tucker back as well, right?
Yeah, and they brought Tucker back too. But Tucker is probably not happy about that. I would think he's not happy about that. I'm sure he had offers out there. And there could have even been a situation where he went back to the Bucs with an offer and they're like, we're just going to tag you. And they placed a tender on him. And he's getting paid more than Rashad White this year, which is hilarious. But don't be surprised if they go offense early. The more I think about it, I had defensive line early, and I know a lot of people are like, we got to come out with 3 guys on the defense in the front 7 right away. I really think defensive line is going to come a little bit earlier and later in the draft now. I think that offense is going to come after they get their edge and linebacker. I think offense is going to be a bigger priority for them to make sure that, hey, if the defense, we know we can't fix the whole defense in one offseason, right? We can add pieces and we add some 1-year guys to it. It doesn't make sense always to just draft the next guy for the next year, right? It doesn't make sense to burn a 2nd round pick on Lee Hunter to sit behind and rotate behind a guy like Vita Vea and Ashawn Robinson, and have them only get X amount of snaps when you can get someone who can maybe make a bit bigger impact. And if that impact is on the offensive side of the ball, we already feel like we have a top offense. So we can add more pieces to ensure that we have an offense. And if guys go down, then we're better. Now, at least our offense is keeping us in games while we improve the defense over the next season and plus. But it's a really short window to look at because who knows what's going to happen next year. So it's one of these things where it's really going to be interesting to see how the Bucs prioritize the draft, and I'm starting to kind of get a little bit of a feel for it as I go through, and as once we get Jason Licht's pre-draft press conference and Bulls pre-draft, then I think we'll get a little bit further understanding. But free agency certainly did that. There's still moves they can make. Again, Tim Patrick is a guy who I like. Rasul Douglas. I know Martin Emerson's been connected. Fabian Moreau. Some cornerbacks that they could go after. I think that's the biggest spot on this team that needs help is the secondary. And I don't necessarily think it's through the draft. I do think they'll add to it in the draft, but I think you need a veteran guy that can come in here because you have Zion McCollum coming off injury, Benjamin Morrison, who has played with an injury most of the season and was up and down, and then Jacob Parrish, who you want as your nickel, and behind the safety room, you have 3 undrafted free agents. They love J.J. Roberts, but he's never played in the NFL during the regular season. So kind of just to tie it all up, my final thoughts is there's a lot of work to be done over the next month or so to kind of figure out where the Bucs are really going to look. I know some people think like offensive line in round 1, if Ione's there, Vega's there, which I think could be something that could happen too. There is a lot of things going on next year with Ben Bredesen in the final year, his deal, Cody Mauch becomes an unrestricted free agent, and you have to make that decision on Graham Barton for the 5th-year option. So I think right now, with the way the draft is set up, with there only being about 10 guys who are true first-round grades, you got to kind of look at all the options on the board like you did last year and say, okay, they truly could go best player available there, even if edge is the biggest need, and they do need an edge one talent. But the fact of the matter is, once you get past pick 12, 13, the talent from there all the way to the 50s is pretty much the same. You're getting the same type of player. It's just a pick your flavor, and that includes all the edge rushers after Bailey and help me. No, the other big guy, Bailey and Bain. Bailey and Bain. After those guys, like it's just like pick your poison. Do you want a DPR? Do you want a more complete guy who's got work to do in Malachi Lawrence? Do you want Misador, who looks like a guy who can go right away, but's got 25 injury? Could they trade down? We'll see. You always have to find a trade partner. And I was just listening to Daniel Jeremiah this morning, and he's like, I don't think you're going to find a lot of teams that want to trade down. Like they know where the meat and potatoes of this draft is, and it's in that 2nd and 3rd round. So for a team to want to give up something to move up to 15, and to be a value for the Bucs, they're going to have to hope someone falls in love with Ty Simpson and wants to get up ahead of the Jets or the Steelers, which could be the Browns, who are at 24. Steelers are at 21. The Jets are right there behind them at 16. So it's like or somewhere right there. If someone wants to jump up ahead of them, that becomes, where maybe a trade down happens. But they definitely got to come out with an edge. They definitely come out with a linebacker. I talked about kind of maybe the linebacker preference earlier, and then the edge rusher preference earlier. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, all my latest work is over on X. All my articles are over there. If you're on Facebook, hop over to X, get over there. It's where news happens. You can go right to my profile, click the articles tab again. Like I said, I had my mock draft up yesterday. I got the combine tracker going. I've broken 2 of those so far, so go check that out and see who's coming in and who's coming out. I've got 8 articles in the hopper, including my next mock draft that will be out next Saturday. We'll be pumping those out every Saturday up until the day before the draft, which is when I'll have my final. And that one will be my predictive mock. These are all just to kind of get you used to some of the prospects the Bucs could like, who they've met with, etc. So, and maybe a guy or two that I just really think they would fit that they haven't met with reportedly yet. So check those out to get yourself familiarized with some of the guys the Bucs could look at, how they fit on the defense or offense. And yeah, as always, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you letting me ramble. Joey Nips, it's always a pleasure. And yeah, put your ones up. Acknowledge me.
Yeah, and
Good seeing you, JC.
before we dismiss you, you're right. It seems like Reese, Bailey, and Bain are the top 3.
And much. Reese he's not an edge rusher. Like
that's why some people don't list him.
No, he's just not. He's not. I know that Joey A, NFL guy who's on there. He's like, he's an edge rusher. I was like, no, bro, he's a linebacker. Like he's a linebacker.
Remember on the road to WrestleMania, JC, you are cursed.
Yes, and that's I forgot that was the other part. WrestleMania is the one thing I'm looking for. I'm not big on the March Madness. I lost too much money in brackets when I was younger. I could care less anymore. I'll catch some of the sporting games, the Celtics game, and the Bruins game was on yesterday, so I watched that, and some of these other events. Kentucky Derby. We'll watch that because it's the Derby. But yeah, all our eyes are on WrestleMania now, and Danhausen. What an awesome addition, man. He gets booed to all hell and terrible reaction after the reveal.
Fans
And now
don't know what the hell they're doing.
we can't get more Danhausen. I loved the whole interaction with the Bellas the other day. Bella clones. Number one, Brie. Number two, Bella. It was so good. It was so great. And then the Johnny Gargano for $20, and then he just disappears. The backstage Cold Stone Steve Austin. It was great.
Him signing random Cody Rhodes pictures.
Oh yeah, taking the belt and walking away with the belt. It was awesome. I hope they left that in there for someone to get a random Danhausen's Cody Rhodes autograph. That'd be great.
Apparently they did. They did.
But yeah, he's been such an awesome addition. I know how injuries and things can change, and obviously ticket sales aren't moving and stuff like that. But I really hate how dirty they continue to do Drew McIntyre. He's not even my favorite wrestler, but it's just at this point it's not okay. And him and Nick Aldis are going to be a great match at WrestleMania. But he's right. Or if it's Jacob Fatu, which it probably will be Jacob Fatu because they just went on, it's on site. Actually, Jacob Fatu was on 94.1 down in here in Tampa doing an interview. And he said, when I see Drew, it's on site. But I still wish it was Nick Aldis. But anyways, it is what it is. I'm not super hyped up for this card the way I thought I would be. Even with the Roman and CM dropping promos like gold every week. It's just, I don't know. I mean, you tell me, are you guys as invested as you were, let's say, a year or two ago? Because I feel like I'm not.
I definitely am compared to last year, because 2 years ago to me was still the back-to-back Roman Reigns years with Cody Rhodes were elite. I think last year I am more impressed with because of the two main events that could easily be night two, and it's because of the storytelling, like you said, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's just a class A match. Their promos have been great. They've been evening each other out. And then the Cody and Randy story, had to be told at some point. And Randy Orton looks like 15 years ago when he was 2009 doing it. So
but he's getting the pop. Does this happen? And this is how, does Randy win? And this is how Cody turns heel? Because it doesn't matter what Randy's doing right now. He's getting popped. He's busting Cody open and getting pops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, I'm the biggest Cody Rhodes fan there is. And I realize, people always like new champions, even though everyone wanted Cody to climb to the top of the mountain. Of course, they want newer.
Became too pretentious, man. QB1. I'm QB1. It's my show.
Right.
I'm the face of the franchise. Bro, shut up and sit down. No, you're not. Roman's back.
He is. Hey, Roman part-timer's back. Cody Rhodes comes every single week and brings the heat. He's the face that runs the place like John Cena did in the mid-2000s, okay? I love Roman Reigns. Well, let's not act like he shows up once a month and doesn't get into fights while he tells CM Punk he's old, okay?
There goes. I think JC Allen went into the dust.
Maybe you got dragged into the back.
I'm back. I got a phone call, but I'm back now.
Interesting little news story. Buccaneers safety Antoine Winfield Jr.'s fiance helped a woman hit by a car in front of the friends and family bus headed to Saturday's Fanatics flag football game.
Saw that.
Good for her there. JC, any last words or comments before we let you go, brother?
Not much. I appreciate you having me on as always. I know it was last minute I saw. I appreciate when you tag me in this because sometimes I forget when you go because you go so often. Not many people out here in Bucksland are giving you as much content as my man Tones here. So make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turn on those notifications. I'm too late since wrestling is a topic. So you get notified every time. I get notified from the Twitter, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm not doing anything. Tones, drop me the link. Sometimes it'd be like, too late. You're not in the plans. You're going to ruin the show. You're going to talk for half an hour or an hour before you can ever get into any of our subjects. But today he was like, "Come on, you can talk for as long as you want." So I appreciate that. And
No
then,
muzzle today. No muzzle today.
no muzzle today. I need a shot clock. That's what when I come on, you need to give me a shot clock that pops up, and I got to get it
Your
in
ass
that
be
next time.
ignoring that shot clock anyway.
No, I won't. Not if there's like a buzzer sound. Whatever. I'm hijacking the show again. Anyways, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and putting those notifications on so you get tuned in anytime the Buccateers are live. No matter what you guys want to talk about, they got you covered. College football, college basketball, Valspar, wrestling, football. Doesn't matter if it's just the Bucs or league talk, NCAA. They got you covered with anything you want. Plus memorabilia too. You can't go wrong with tuning into the Buccateers. As for myself, JCL and NFL on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it is where you can find me. I'm publishing all of my articles over there. Go check them out. Just go to my profile, click those little articles tab where it says like replies, media, video. Articles right there. You can look at them all. My mock draft came out yesterday. The tracker is updated and live for both free agency and the combine and top 30 official visits. Not top 30, official 30 visits. We don't call them top 30. All that and more. I've got 8 articles coming down the pipeline. I'm trying to get out at least 1 or 2 a day. Keep it locked in. Subscribe to me. Turn my notifications on Twitter so you don't miss any of my stuff. And that's going to do it for me here at the Buccateers. Joey Nips, appreciate you, my friend. Tampa Tones, as always. You're a boss. I'll be back sometime again, hopefully with a shot clock.
And
Peace.
hopefully not cursed. We love you, Jason.
Hopefully not cursed. Oh, Lesnar Femi is going to be awesome too.
That will
I
be
hope Femi
amazing.
wins that.
Well,
And we all know.
rejuvenated your shot clock, I guess.
See, that's what happens. Nips was right. We all know that Gunther's going to retire Lesnar at SummerSlam for his last match, but I hope Femi gets over on Lesnar. Vince isn't here, so it should happen. That's it for me. I'm done.
All right. We love you, JC. We'll see you soon, my friend. JCL, and take care, brother.
Oh, wait. I do want to see an Omos and Obi Fema tag team at some point. That would be awesome.
All right,
Brothers of Destruction.
What's the weather like? How we doing? What's the
today it's about 77 degrees and sunny. Low humidity in Florida. It's beautiful. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.
Love you, JC. And millions following JC. Great stuff there. Yeah, Femi actually listed Elon Musk in his top influencers.
That's
so
your boy,
good.
Femi.
Yep. Jeez. Parlay Pete in the house. Sunday fun day. Our guy Pete hanging out with us. Plus, I'm too late with wrestling. Never that. The Bucs do have Ben Bredesen. Why not get brother Max Bredesen, the Michigan men? Brett would be happy about that. They could trade down. We've seen Light do it before. JC mentioned memorabilia. We'll be back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Eastern. Bucs by 30. We do have a special guest for tomorrow night show, Pelagic Computer, our guy talking about his memorabilia and so much more. If you're watching live right now, hit that like button, as JC said. Turn that notification bell on and hit that subscribe button. Joey, before we do bounce out of here, thoughts on March Madness thus far? How's that going for you? And anything else you might have missed?
I can't complain. March Madness going good so far. Won 7 out of my 8 games yesterday, and I think in the 99.8 percentile of brackets. But an Arizona or I forget the other team, but an Arizona loss would crush me. So if people want to root against me, there's where you got to do it. So I do love March Madness. And then once we get past the Sweet 16 outside of brackets, it does dry up a little bit, but love that. And then wrestling-wise, I don't need to bring too much more than JC did for us there. All I have to say is fuck you, Randy Orton. You're going to get your payback at Mania, even though he's a dog as well, of course. Half kidding aside. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully everyone's safe travels. I know the airports are crazy right now. That's been on social media a lot too. So catch Cleve and me this week. We'll be back. Tones will probably be joining us once we decide on a day, and we'll be on the road to Mania and talk AEW, TNA Impact, and so much more. So looking forward to a good week. Tones is now well rested and recovered for tomorrow, and I think we all will be, and we'll be attacking till the NFL draft.
Yeah, we'll also have more pigskin and pile drivers in the coming days as well. Cleve and me, pigskin and pile driver combination giveaway featuring a CM Punk Elimination Chamber towel. A lot of good stuff here on the Buccateers. Will restart breadwinners here in the coming weeks as well, as we keep killing it over at that. The Valspar is going on in Tampa. Enjoyed the last day of the Valspar for golf fans as well. Joey, finisher for the program before we bounce out of here. And opening day just stays away as well for baseball. Sports don't stop.
They don't. We got basketball and hockey fantasy playoffs coming up. We have fantasy baseball drafts, you and I, the next couple of days. It's going to be awesome. March Madness and the MLB opening day into the NFL draft and so much more. Golf's at a high point. It's a great time to be a sports fan, a wrestling fan, anything that you like. So where you get all that information is here on the Buccateers. We cover it all depending on the day of the show. So if you're looking for any updates on any of that shit, even the love lives, even the other things we cover out there to the millions and millions, we will keep doing it. So God bless. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time.
Shout out to Vera, who joined us on Facebook as well. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow talking all things sports. And remember, everybody, you are cursed. Enjoy your Sunday as Joe Housen and Tones Housen will, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow night, 6 Eastern, here on the Buccateers. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
it was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just say, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's so cool to see.